last video of this chapter is going to be focused on multi-layered cloth. When I was first starting to learn Vellum, I found it hard to understand how to set this up because none of the tutorials explained it specifically, or they would just skip through it assuming that you know how to do this, and they would show you a very complex graph and quickly explain what they did, which for a beginner was very frustrating. So this video is to kind of simplify this down to its core, and I have this very simple graph, but we'll start off in Maya because we're going from nCloth to Vellum. So let's look at nCloth and see how nCloth deals with it. So in this case, I don't just want one nCloth node to control it all, to rule it all. I want two nCloth nodes. So the way to do it, you have two objects, you apply nCloth to it, it creates two nCloth nodes, and then we can constrain them separately. Pretty straightforward. And what that allows us to do is the top layer of this, if I press play now, you can see it behaves very differently to the bottom layer. So how do we go about that in Vellum? Let's have a nice look. So I'm going to expand my Houdini. I'm going to move this aside by holding down spacebar and middle mouse button, and then press P just so I could get this data up here. So if we look at what I've got here, I got two objects. I got my top geo, I got my bottom geo, I got my bottom group over here, which is what we used to constrain in the previous video, and I kind of did the same thing for the top one. So it's got its own group, it's got its own name, all in all the same. So let's just go about attaching all of this together. So I'm going to grab this and attach it there to where the geo goes, and immediately we see we got a problem that the group over here gets disconnected, or basically our geo gets disconnected because we can't have more than one input coming in here. Yes, the best way, the next thing to do is to grab both of them and add a merge node. A quick way to do that is hold down Alt. I'm going to just drag down from there and let go, and then drag down from there and let go. And if I go to my Vellum solver now, press the up arrow, you could see that I am getting a simulation for both cloths. Now, in the Maya example that I did, I could change the behavior of the top cloth from the other cloth, and currently I only got one node that rules them all. Kind of like if I would grab two pieces of geometry in Maya, combine them, and then apply the nCloth, because that's exactly what we did here. So how can we now deal with this? Well, a good way is to have two Vellum constraint cloths over here, right? So I'm just going to duplicate that one, move that over, and say, okay, let's get, let me detach this merge, there, like that. And I'm going to hold down Y, get these scissors, and I'm just going to cut everything like so. And now I want to attach this guy over here, and immediately I see I get a problem, right? Because if I have these two here, right, and I want to attach this one to here, I would come across the same issue as I had before, right? That suddenly I can't attach them. But I do have this merge node that we can use. So how about we duplicate it? I'm going to hold down Alt again. I'm going to duplicate it for each side. So let's put on one side my geometry. The other side, I'm going to put my constraint inputs, and then constraint to constraint. And there we go. So constraint to constraint and geo to geo, and it looks like it's working, right? And it is. It's going to behave correctly. Now the reason that I don't have a constraint for this guy, well, because I need to create a constraint node, or because I created this group, I could go here and just go down to the drop down list here, choose the other constraint group. It's going to add it here, and we'll check this out. Magic! I got them both. And you can see that they're both behaving the same way now. So let's say I'm going to go here, go down to the bend controls, and I'm going to change its behavior altogether. So now the top one's going to be way softer, and it's going to do that. So look at that. Amazing. All right, so that's just one way of approaching this. But it can get quite confusing when you start getting a lot of geometry together and then you're starting to get all this crisscrossing. And the cool thing about the node work in Houdini is that you can pack and unpack data. So I'm going to detach this merge. I'm going to delete this merge. I'm going to cut these guys. Whoops. Don't want to cut all of it, but I did anyway. This guy's going to go in the middle because we're going to need it. But what I want to do is I want to pack the data from the geometry and the constraint and then stream it through here and then unpack it back. So I have just one line going in. So, for example, I will just start typing vellum, and I can find the pack. And of course, I need two of those. And we're going to just connect them. You could also hold down J and just draw like that. That's another way you could do that. And then we're going to go and pipe these guys into the merge. Right? So these are now packed, and you can see I only got one of each coming into the merge. But now I have a problem because I only have one data stream out. I need two data streams, one for the constraint, one for the geo. So for that, we need an unpack. So I already have it over here. So it's a vellum unpack. And you write vellum unpack or vellum U and it will come up. We'll connect that like that. One like that, and that one like that. And voila. All right, so now this looks nice and neat and easier to work with. And if I press play, not sure what's going on. Oh yeah, this is what's going on. There we go. Now it should work. We're back to where we were. So that's it in a nutshell. It's basically doing the same thing as we have in Maya. We have our cloth control nodes, and then we have our constraints. In this case, we're just using one constraint because everything's using groups, and it's easier just to call up the group on each one, and the way that we set it up is to be dynamic. All right, I'm going to wrap this up here, and in the next chapter, we are going to start working on something a lot more complex. And we're going to start off in Maya and use Alembic caches from Maya into Houdini. And I'll show you how to set up the Alembic caches in Maya so you can get all the information you need, how to work with Alembic caches in Houdini. And we'll build a wonderful flagpole simulation fairly easily. And I'll take you through it step by step. And hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching so far. If you have any comments, please feel free add it to the comments or reach out. Thank you so much and enjoy this video.